welcome back to the channel, guys. Me and my truck, his name's Hank, so this is me and Hank here. I thought I would do a video about the final product of what does this truck look like after all that work I had done, all the work me and Alan did a couple months ago. So right now, I don't really know if you can tell with me sitting here that the truck's been picked up a little bit. That's something that we did, and I won't go over too much of the details. I'll just show you and kind of show you a fleet side view of what it looks like right now, because that video kind of talks about some of the stuff that I did. So you can find the link to that video in the description below. Of course, I'll put it there. But basically, I decided when I bought this truck, I've had it for over a year. Sometime last year, I bought it last spring. I decided that I just wanted to make this a project, something that I could work at little bit by little bit and not have to take on too much at a time. I was very lucky that I found this truck in good working condition. The man who sold it to me bought it from another man named Steve, who worked at the Chevrolet dealership, and he bought it off the lot at the Chevrolet dealership a long time ago and just drove it. So it was really a truck that never saw no off-roading, no funny business. It's been on asphalt its whole life, and it's just been pretty well taken care of because of that. So I kind of just broke the truck down into groups of what I wanted to do first. So the first thing I did was assess the front end, suspension, ball joints, tie rod ends, replacing the components of that suspension and steering that I knew needed to be replaced, but also, of course, replacing it would make it a smoother ride. So I did that. One thing I opted to do is instead of doing, so I wanted to do a lift. I wanted to pick this thing up 2 inches, so it's got a 2-inch lift on it, just because I like that look of having it picked up a little bit, and now I have room to put a little bit bigger tires on it. Right now, the tires that are on it are 33 1250s, but if I wanted to, at some point, I could probably put 35 1250s would probably fit, but I just went with 33s at least for now, because I think that looks good, and like the bigger the tire, the rougher the ride, and the worse the gas mileage, of course. So the 2-inch lift that I got, instead of doing blocks in the back and just keeping the springs that I have, I decided to do a full replacement. So it's got new leaves in the front, new leaves in the back, and of course new shocks. Another thing that we did is it's got new axle bearings in the back. It's got new brakes, so new brake lines in the front, and it's got new rotors and new pads in the front. The back really weren't all that bad, but we took everything off, of course, to replace those axle bearings, and everything got cleaned really nice. It's got new axle seals. It's got new seals in the front. It has everything in my locking hubs was taken apart for me to get to all the stuff in the front I needed to do, like replacing the tie rod ends. So all that got cleaned good with brake cleaner, and all that got re-greased, which is really nice. Let's see, what else have I done? Since I've had this truck, it's got a new gas tank, and it's got a new sending unit for that gas tank. That wasn't something that I recently did with Alan. It was actually something that I did with another mechanic who is a friend of Alan's. So pretty much right now, just to sum it all up, the rear end and the front end are pretty much new, especially the front end. Everything is new. And let me tell you something, parts are not cheap. I decided to go back with expensive parts, just a high quality part. I really didn't want to ditch out on the money for that. So right now it looks a little bit different than it did, and if I can find a good picture of before I did any of this work that I recently did, I'll put that in here so we can kind of see a before and an after picture. Plans for the future for this truck, as far as something I want to do in the future, it does need a little bit of body work. The rust is not terrible, and it's not what you would say just like eating the truck up and integral to the main body of the truck. It's really cab corners, it's rocker panels, it's stuff like that. Kind of what you expect to see. Got this lovely bug here. But lucky for me, the actual cab and the floor of the cab is good. There's not really a lot of rust. There's a little bit here in these tailgate posts. It's not really all that bad. And there's a little bit here and there in this bed, but for the most part, this is a really solid truck, and I just really got lucky when I bought it. And these old trucks, something that they're notorious for, of course, is the gas tank. That gas tank rusts and leaks. That's how I found out the gas tank had a problem. I run out of gas. One thing I actually did do for the interior, and I can put the link to that video in the description below too, is I replaced the dash. I just bought a dash replacement on LMC truck, and me and Dad put it in, because another thing that these kind of square body 80s trucks are notorious for is the dash. It will, over time of sun exposure, it'll crackle and break. And that's not integral to how the truck runs, but it just looks like crap. And I just kind of wanted it to not look like crap. So I bought a new dash. I also have a sun protector that I put out in the window to protect the longevity of my dash. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I've done with this truck. It actually has a tape player in it, so as far as sound and audio go, I don't really need a whole lot of noise or volume of like bass and everything. I'm pretty pleased with the tape player. I have a lot of tapes and it works, so that's something I'm going to keep around. Eventually, one of the next things that needs to happen, probably besides body work for like the rocker panels and that kind of stuff, is I need to replace the just the stripping, the weather stripping and the ceiling in the truck. And I need to do the windows, because I keep hearing somebody talking over there. Sorry, y'all. I'm just like, I wonder who that is. Because the weather stripping on the windows is just crackled and old, and what they call your window whiskers, your felt pads that go along the strip of the trim for your window, it keeps your window from jangling in that space in there and driving you nuts. Those are gone, all gone, since long gone. They've been gone for a long time. And so when you shut the truck, that's hard on the window because it slams the window back and forth in that slot. It also just makes a terrible racket going down the road. The window shakes. So it's not a huge deal, but it's something I'm going to fix, and it's something that I can actually get fixed myself. So I'll just pull the truck into the shade and do it, and that will be good. I don't really have to worry about it raining or anything like that, I don't think, because I can do it in a day. Like, I can probably finish it in a day, but what you have to do is take off the interior door panel to do that, to get to what you need to get to. So probably watch a few YouTube videos on that and be able to do that. Also, something that I want to do too, probably eventually, is get my saddle blanket seat cover. I bought a seat cover for this truck like last year, and it's behind the seat, and I never put it on. So it'd probably just be a good idea to protect the upholstery on my existing seat because it's in very good shape. I did find out later that the seat in this truck come from a dump truck. It's not original. The seat is not original to this truck. And I guess somebody wanted to replace the seat that was in it because it was wore out. So they ended up getting one out of a Chevrolet dump truck. And that's kind of why this particular seat sets up high. Dad mentioned that the very first time he drove it. He's like, whoa, this seat sets up really high. And that's why, because it come out of a dump truck. It does not really fit, wasn't meant to fit this truck, but it works great for me that it sets up tall, so that I feel like I'm not sitting down and then I can't see out the huge magnificent windshield, because the windshield on this thing's huge. So I will say one more thing. I actually did try to put a rear view mirror in this truck. You can buy the mirror, put the glue on, follow the instructions, and it didn't work, and it made me really angry. So I said, forget it. And I have literally been driving this truck around since the entire time I had it without a rear view mirror. So whatever. I'm just glad that I have this big glass back here to see out of, because when I need to back some, this is where I back from. I just turn and look over my shoulder because there's no rear view mirror to look out. So I think I will go ahead and take the phone over and just kind of show you some of what the truck actually looks like. Also, by the way, I've still got my old tires, and they still got some life in them. So if you live here locally and you need some, I think these are 31 1050s, 15-inch wheels, yeah, let me know, because I got some life in them and I'm not going to do anything with them. So, okay. You may be able to tell from the side here that it's picked up a little bit. Those are bigger tires. This is kind of what it looks like now. One thing I did fail to mention, I'm seeing already. I just forgot. If we get a look under here. So these are new inner fenders. These are new too. I bought these and we took out the old ones. Those are new, I don't know what you call those that go on the fenders. I call them flappy things. Those are new flappy things. There's my new brake line. You can see my new shock. And those are my new leaves right there too. Also, don't mind, the crows are having a party. I don't know why. You can see there's one of my new tie rod ends. You can see the grease, it's been well greased. Something else that you can't really see, you may be able to see it if I pull this back. Yeah, there we go. You can see that. This is a new steering box. I forgot to mention that too. This truck got a new steering box. So you can kind of see under there. You can see that new front shock there, that front stabilizer. Let's see if I get us a better view. All right, we can see a little better here. I actually also, the plate there on that case, I took it off, cleaned it, checked the grease in there. It was good. It was full. Again, there's a better view of that front shock stabilizer. My leaves, and you can see in there if you look close, that's the grease seals for those ball joints that you can see that are new. And of course they got new, you can see that right there, that bolt. I call those king bolts. I don't really, there's a word for that, but I'm calling them king bolts because they look like a crown. Of course, those got new bolts. You can see my new brake line over there too. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look half bad under there. Also, if you can see that, you can see where the old exhaust is just coming from the manifold of the motor and the new exhaust. So this truck does have new dual exhaust, but that's something I got at a different time, separate from what I just did with Alan the mechanic. But that is something new on this truck that I did have done. So let's see, let's go around back and see if there's anything that I forgot. I don't know if you can see under that tire too. That's also a new tie rod in right there. So you can see the new exhaust, the exhaust mount, the leaves, the shocks. And if I come around the bottom, so you can also see that the face of that plate got cleaned. Look at that. It's just kind of, those are some old stains, but that got cleaned and it got resealed. There needed to be a new seal on that case. It was leaking and you can see where it was leaking. So we put a new seal in there and re-greased it. So put more, I don't know if you'd call that oil, I guess you would. We put more in there, so that's good. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good view. Kind of see almost everything. So you get the idea. This is kind of a view of me next to the truck. So I thought we could use me for size, and that might give you an idea of height, maybe how it looks different since the tires and the 2-inch lift are on here. So you can see it's a little taller, probably like the door handle comes up to my shoulder, but it's not hard to get into. I mean, you can still just open the door and swing in. It's not so like lifted up that it's a pain to get into, because I didn't want to do that. So if I say so myself, I kind of think it looks cool. I'm kind of proud of it. I think it does look cool. It's something that I can honestly say that I worked really hard on. I worked really hard on, I think there's a ghost here because something keeps spooking me. It was a lot of hard work, but it was so worth it because I'm very happy. I'm very pleased. This is something that I always wanted to do. Still feel incredibly blessed that God knew this was an interest and a passion and a love of mine, and he allowed me through hard work to be able to achieve it. So I do feel blessed. I just think that all the good things in my life come from God, because there's just no way they come from me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and that, I'm telling you, there's a ghost here. Just keep hearing things, and I don't like feeling like my 20, watching your 20, that my 20 is exposed in all this room and I don't feel like I can see behind me. Probably a paranoia thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come back and leave us a comment, and maybe hopefully tell me what you think about the truck. If you think it looks better, hopefully now, after you saw that before and after photo. Hopefully you think it looks better. Maybe you have one like this. Maybe you hate Chevrolets and you're a Ford person. You should tell me that too, if that's how you feel about it. But anyway, I thank you so much for your love, for your support, and more importantly, for your interest in something that just means so much to me. So God bless you. God keep you. We'll catch you at the next one.